Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, as it is time to get underway with the pre-finals. The last couple of qualifying heats for juniors and seniors, and then, of course, the finals here at the Home of Champions, Karting Genk. For round 3, day 1, BNL Karting Series 2025. Temperatures have increased over the course of the lunch break. We are approaching very quickly towards 30 degrees Celsius air temperature. There is a breeze in the air in the Limburg region at the Home of Champions. And more again, well, of course, the circuit that we are racing at this weekend. Let's give you another reminder. If you haven't been tuning in with us on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel over the course of today, it is a fantastic facility that's been now in operation for what is now its 5th decade. Having started in 1984, having a major revamp to the circuit you see now in the mid-2000s, it's hosted every single kind of international karting event, from arrive and drive to rental karts and so much more, and is also the home of the BNL Karting Series, Rotax Max Challenge Belgium, and of course the Rotax Golden Trophy, which has hosted. It's also a previous host of the Rotax Grand Festival in years past, and it really is a circuit that needs no real introduction. So, time to get underway with our first pre-final of the weekend. It's Mini Max and Mini Max Rookie. One qualifying heat, but it is now going to be 7 minutes plus an additional lap to find out how the grid will stack up in the final later on. Here is your starting grid based on the results from the qualifying heat earlier on today. Osterman and Tom Reed will be on the front row of the grid, ahead of Finn Albert Jorgensen and Leo Livings. Dayan Habits and Harry Radcliffe will occupy row 3, ahead of Logan Rolfe and Aran Qureshi. Julian Dimmer will be joined by Mick Klinkers, ahead of Ari Kallenberg and Andreas Jellerup, with Oliver Spencer and Leon Herbos. Malte Holm, Attika Asifmir, Leonard Köster, Mikael Gottschalk, Tian Vesnever, Lucian Smith, Arlo Gamble, Kian Hay, Sebastian de Moisac, as there you see the top two in the Minimax rookie side of things at the moment. Kian Hay on 217, Arlo Gamble on 159 points respectively. Sebastian de Moisac, Paul Dussard, Noah Stayhalder, Felix Chang, Mila de Karlsmaker, Ryan Rampadala, Tren van Melk, Sasha Aljabral, Augustin Hanik, Conrad Doyle and Riley Morrow. Morrow still leads the championship going into the final later on this afternoon. 211 plays Austin Amman. 208 with Tom Reed from Strawberry Racing, rounding out your top 3 on 202 points. So after the pre-finals and the last 2 qualifying heats for junior and seniors, we will go into a brief break whilst the final intermediate classifications are ratified and confirmed, deciding our grids. The top 36 in junior and senior will go on to their respective finals. Later on, Senior Max will close out today's racing action with their 15-minute plus an additional lap final taking place, barring any stoppages or delays, at around about 4:30 p.m. Central European summertime this afternoon. So the drivers are under starters' orders. 33 Mini-Max and Mini-Max rookie drivers here at the Home of Champions. Air temperature 28 degrees centigrade, as there's a traffic jam going through turn 10 as everyone getting into their respective grid positions ahead of their penultimate race of this weekend. So the drivers being instructed to slow down. The pre-final will take place over 7 minutes plus an additional lap. It will be 12 minutes plus an additional lap for the final later on this afternoon, as we get set and ready for the racing to start here in the afternoon here at Karting Genk. They speed up, accelerate into the tram lines. Red lights are on, red lights are out. We're underway and racing. And a good start by Osterman. Tom Reed trying to keep towards the outside, as Finn Albert Jorgensen looking to secure P2 early doors as they all go through turn 1. Now into, that was, big wobble there for Kian. Hey, that was nearly a Code Brown clean-up on aisle 3, coming out of turn 2 for the number 68, as a dive to the inside for the race lead. at turn 6. Tom Reed threaded the eye of the needle, got through on Osterman. And in the meantime, well, Finn Albert Jorgensen finds himself down in 4th position. Field makes its way down in towards turn 10. Leo Livings, I think, trying to move up the order. Harry Radcliffe, I think, has gotten himself up into 3rd place as the field makes its way through into turn 12 and 13. Finn Albert Jorgensen losing a couple of places. And there is, Malte Holm. Malte Holm from Denmark is out of the race. 3 wide going into turn 1. And more dramas there. Julian Dummer versus Oliver Spencer. Spencer gets the crisscross out of turn 2. Great work there. Along with that, Andreas Jellerup trying to make some moves. As there is also Arhan Qureshi, who's got Finn Albert Jorgensen up the inside. Julian Dummer might lose a position, and I think has just done so. So Jellerup gets through on the German. So Malte Holm out on the opening lap. What a real shame for the Danish driver in the 120. Meantime, Riley Morrow is trying to move his way up from the back end of the order. It's going to be easier said than done, but the final is going to be a different affair. Clinkers versus Radcliffe for P3 across the line. Radcliffe and Clinkers were wheel to wheel, like Mansell and Senna. If you might remember, McLaren versus Williams, 1991 millimetres apart. But Tom Reed now leading the way ahead of Osterman. Down the Europalan they go. Reed looks over his right shoulder as they go through in towards turn 7, 8 and 9. Once again, here on lap number 3. Riley Morrow now up to 25th, setting the timesheets purple. Fastest in the opening sector overall. Will it be the same in sector number 2? Not quite, but still a very consistent lap from Riley Morrow. His fastest lap so far, a 1 minute, 0.275, as Mick Clinkers has started to pull a gap over Harry Radcliffe a little bit further back. Looks like a few drivers, including Leo Livings, who's tumbled all the way down to 17th position. Atika Massive Mir. Black flag. Black flag for Riley Morrow. Has been given the black flag. I've just seen by race control. Now there is a yellow. We've got a yellow at. There's one driver who has scarpered away from turn 8. There is another kart to the left-hand side of the circuit. So that has brought the marshals into action. And it looks like it might be Noah Stayhouder and Trent Van Malik that were involved. Meantime, across the line we go, completing this next lap. And Tom Reed now brings us on to lap number 5. He's fractionally ahead of Osterman, who is looking to get through. And at the moment, Oman trying everything in the playbook to make sure that happens, but Tom Reed is saying otherwise. And I've just seen that Riley Morrow has just been given, has got the fastest lap of the race, 59.146. And it's up to, according to the timesheets, 20th position at the moment. But Tom Reed holding on to that race lead at the moment. Not by much, but it's enough. Mick Clinkers is trying to chase them down and is lapping pretty much the same as Osterman, who is trying everything in the Premier League football playbook to get through. Oliver Spencer now has got through on Harry Radcliffe. That's a change for 4th place. as we've got a minute and a half to go, plus an additional lap. The leaders coming down into turn 6 and 7. They get through and facilitate it. So once again, the 122 of Riley Morrow being shown the black flag on the Digi flag, just over the start-finish line. Riley Morrow up until this point has made it up to 19th position. So we're going to have 2 laps to go. And Tom Reed still leads. Osterman 3.5 tenths of a second in front, as Arlo Gamble and Riley Morrow have ended up off the circuit. Well, I've seen that Arlo Gamble is off the track, off of turn number 1. And I think Riley Morrow has parked the kart, so... But there has been a change at the front end. Well, at the front end of the field, there is no change. Osterman now being hounded by Mick Clinkers. So this is where things might get a little bit frisky, let's say, between second and third place, because Osterman is trying to catch up with Tom Reed. So the timer has expired. But still, this is going to give a window of opportunity to, I think, Mick Clinkers here, because he's about a kart length and a half behind Austin Oman. Make that a kart length. Then that closes up as they go down the Europolan at over 95 kph. Into turn 6, 7, then into the sweeper at 8 before the short shoot up to the left-hand hairpin here at 9. So, final lap underway. Tom Reed, 3 tenths ahead. Harry Radcliffe battling away with Logan Rolfe, who looked for a move up the inside. And now he's going to try through turn 2. Great move there by the 153 of Andreas Jellerup to take the position away from Harry Radcliffe. And there is Logan Rolfe in the 114, part of the Synergy team. Julian Dimmer is right on the back of this. This is a 4-way squabble over what is 5th on the road, as Logan Rolfe is going to get through. And that is job done on Harry Radcliffe. Julian Dimmer trying to throw it around the outside at turn 9. The German unable to do so on the Formula K chassis. As we are fast coming to the conclusion of this race. But it's going to be the run out of the final corner. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Tom Reed. Tom Reed wins the pre-final by 0.133 of a second. Osterman P2. Mick Clinkers from 10th on the grid to finish P3. Oliver Spencer, that's another great performance in only his 2nd race, since earlier on this week he was announced to join SP Motorsport from 13th on the grid to finish 4th on the road. Andreas Jellerup also another one making significant inroads there. From P12 to P5, head of Logan Rolfe, Harry Radcliffe, Julian Dimmer, Finn Albert Jorgensen and Lucian Smith running at your top 10. Leo Livings in 11th, head of Ali Kallenberg with Ahan Qureshi, Leon Herbos and Atika Asifmir rounding out your top 15. Lennart Köster, Tian Vesneyer, Paul Dussart, Kian Hay, and Canada's Sebastian Demoisac round out the top 20. Ryan Rampadanath finishing ahead of Felix Chang from Chinese Taipei and the island of Taiwan. Sasha Al-Jabrail, Augusta Hanik, and Mila de Karsmaker round out the 25 finishers. Dejan Habits, Conrad Doyle and Mikko Gottschalk we lost with 1 lap to go. Arlo Gamble and Riley Morrow out with 4 laps remaining, with Noah Stehauder, Trent Van Mellick and Malte Holm unfortunately also out of the race.
okay. Tack så mycket nu.
So the green flag shown to the dummy grid and waves as we get underway with our next pre-final. It's DD2 and DD2 Masters. The temperature's still getting very, very hot here at Karting Genk. Here's the top three in the respective classes. So DD2 Masters, Christophe Capitain, Jeremy Bresler and Michael Becker. Those are your top three in the standings so far after the halfway point of the championship season. And then we go to the top three in Max DD2. And so far this season, the man on the mission, Sam Knopfjes, with a perfect score. 220 points ahead of Denmark's Frederik Zevis and France's Antoine Barberou in the 402 for RM Concept, rounding out the top three. And here is your starting grid. So Sam Knopfjes and Antoine Barberou line up on the front row. Nicolas Guillaume and William Christensen, row 2. William Norbeek and Len Noyes, row 3. Lawrence Herbos and Bennett Sabor round out the top 4 rows. Christophe Capitain, pole sitter for DD2 Masters and also pole sitter for this race, starts on the inside of row 5. He'll be joined by Austria's Manuel Tenschert. Mattis Hankans and Wout Kerstens rounding out row 6. Row 7, Kian de Brandt and Moritz Knopfjes. Axel Hoos and Jeremy Bresler, row 8. Michael Becker and Dmitry Ostrovsky, row 9. With Frederik Zevis and Marco Drittenpreis rounding out the 20 drivers that are on the circuit. Unfortunately, Gustav Susarkovs, not too sure what's happened with Gustavs this weekend. He was in fine spirits when I spoke to him this morning. So maybe I need to do a little bit of investigative commentary journalism here. So the revs rise and we go green flag racing here at Karting Genk for 10 minutes plus an additional lap, as Guillaume has already steamrolled his way through to second position early. That's a good start from the 444 as they make their way up through in towards turn 5 for the first time. So Knopfjes leads, Barberou in third behind Guillaume. Knopfjes goes to cover off Guillaume going into turn 6. Nearly 3 wide, fanning out at the back of the field as they make their way through into turn 8. But it's going to be an absolute dogfight here in DD2 and DD2 Masters. And more to the point, well, Knopfjes looking over the shoulder. Guillaume within 1/10 of a second of the race leader. Barberou is there or thereabouts, and more to the point, this is what you wanted at the sharp end of the field. And there is a real battle going on between Kian de Brandt and I think Manuel Tenschert there, possibly. as Knopfler is trying to pull away from Guillaume. But the gap between the man from Dams Racing and the driver behind on the Kart Republic chassis for SP Motorsport, it's not much. Lawrence Herbos trying to close in on Antoine Babahoul. William Christensen passed on William Norbeek. Len Nyes, Bendit Sabo, Christophe Capitan and Manuel Tencha round out your top 10 as they come through to complete lap 2. Knopfler is still holding a dominant grasp on proceedings. He's extended the gap by over double ahead of Nicolas Guillaume as they go through into 1, into 2. So more to the point, well, Barbaroux has got an opportunity to see if he can get one past Guillaume. However, that can be easier said than done, as the late great Murray Walker used to say. It's one thing catching somebody, it's something completely different if you're trying to pass them. But Guillaume now trying to pull away from Barbaroux and go after Knopfler for the race lead. Lawrence Herbos, the man from Bouvin Power, team led by Berger Bouvin, is also closing in on the top 3. This is where things can get very, very interesting at the front end of the field. As Barbaroux, with a lunge and a half, gets through on Nicolas Guillaume. That is second for the driver from RM Concept. Manuel Tencha, fastest lap of the race, 54.992. Well, it shows that the Austrian has still got the spring in his step. William Norbeek now responds with the fastest opening sector of the race so far. Guillaume now trying to get back at Barbaroux, but the pair of them are losing time. Knopfler only needs to do a couple of good, sectors, and he will be away and clear. So Knopfler's starting to try and pull away. And with the air temperature and the heat, this stifling heat that these drivers are being pressurized under, it's about, the adrenaline is going to be coursing through their veins and pushing them forward, as they'll be encouraged by some of the mechanics that might be on the grandstand. Some will be on the gantry just off of turn number 13. But this is where you really, really get tested. It's driver and machine versus the opposition. And conservation, mechanical sympathy, 2 key points that drivers always have to consider when you're in a pre-final. The one thing you want to do is make sure that kart has no scrapes, no damage, and you want to make sure that you give your mechanic, who is, or all the mechanics here, all the teams, they do a lot of hard work to make sure these drivers are ultra competitive. The mechanics and the families, they are really part of the unsung part of the story that is usually told in motorsport. But Antoine Barbaroux is closing that gap. William Christensen in 5th has put in the new fastest lap of the race of 54.707. And is starting to close on Lawrence Herbos on the Tony kart in 4th. William Norbeek a little bit further back. Ahead of Len Nyes, Bendit Sabo, Manuel Tencha. He still can throw his elbows out, can that Austrian? Tries to get through on Bendit Sabo, and Sabo does not want to have anything to do with it. Here goes Tencha, up the inside, through turn 5. Neat manoeuvre by the 484. Axel Hoos has moved up 5 places in the order, now rounds out the overall top 10, ahead of the man who continues to lead the way in DD2 Masters, Christophe Capitan for RM Concept in the 528, rounds out the top 11. His nearest competitor is now Germany's Michael Becker, who has moved one place up the order to 16th. Jeremy Brasler, his nearest competitor, who's 1 point ahead of him in the standings, let's not forget, is now a further place behind him, because Moritz Knopfjes, the father of Zem, who is leading the way, leading the championship with a perfect score of 220 points so far, is now into P3 in the class. Dmitry Ostrovsky rounds out 19th, and the last of the drivers in the DD2 Masters field, and Matis Ankans rounding out the 20, all drivers still running out on circuit. 2 minutes and 40 seconds, plus an additional lap remains in this pre-final for DD2 and DD2 Masters. Oh, and that was William Christensen, and he nearly ended up in the area. Well, Manuel Tenchert has just flung it up the inside of Len Noyes, the young Belgian for Shippers Racing. And Tenchert again is absolutely flying. The Austrian will be used to these kind of conditions. Maybe say at a particular track called Speedwald at Bruck an der Leitha, 20 minutes outside of the capital city of Austria, Vienna, and not too far away from Rotax Global HQ, I might add. So Tenchert absolutely reveling in these conditions. He is putting everyone on notice. The last time I saw him was 2 years ago in the Euro Trophy. And it's nice to see him again. I had a good chat with him this morning, and I said, how are you feeling? He said, well, I love coming to Genk. And that's a good thing. Lawrence Herbose, oh dear. Lawrence Herbose looks to be out of the race, I'm afraid, after what was a sterling run by the 498 from Bouvin Power. And Brandon Klein-Nagelvort on cue. What a start from the GOAT, as in Zem Knopfjes. Brandon, when are you going to get your backside back over to Belgium? You've got to come over for the final round, mate. Be great to see you and Sem battle away once again. But we are down to the final minute. Christophe Capita, however, is not satisfied with staying in 9th overall. He is actually legitimately on pace, chasing down Combi Kart Racing Team's Axel Hoos for 8th overall. Manuel Tenchert, have you had your ready break this morning? He's just put in a 54.365. Tenchert is flying. He's a quarter of a second, if that, away from William Norbeek, and Tenchert started 10th. How's about the Hollywood script now? Ripped up into multiple pieces and thrown straight in the dustbin. Meantime, our race leader, Zem Knopfjes, comes out of turn 11 and into 12 and 13. Puts us on to the last lap of the race. And the way he is just absolutely manhandling things at the moment. I remember the days back of Xander Schriblak, who I know's here, and Glenn Van Parijs back in the day. In the late 2010s, before COVID-19 decided to throw its hand in the ring. Glenn now currently over at Porsche Sports Cup Switzerland, which is having its halfway point of the season at Imola. Had a chance to catch up with Glenn earlier on this year. But the final lap very much underway. But Manuel Tenchert is not that far from William Norbeek, the Dane, coming under fire from the Austrian. But we've only got a couple of corners to go. And, well, it's the story that continues to keep on giving. Knopfjes victorious in dominant fashion here in the pre-final. Head of Bubba Rule. Guillaume takes P3. Norbeek edges out Tenchert for 4th at the flag. Len Noyes finishes 6th head of Bendit Sabo, with Axel Hoos starting 15th, finishes 8th ahead of Christophe Capitan. Another one for the Frenchman's books to class a victory. Wout Kirstens takes 10th ahead of Kian de Brandt. Frederik Zebis, Marco Drevenpreis, William Christensen after his exit stage left at the penultimate corner dropped to 14th at the checkered. Michael Becker takes P2 in DD2 Masters, 15th overall ahead of Moritz Knopfius, Jeremy Brasler, Matis Ankans and Dmitry Ostrovsky rounding out the finishers. Lawrence Herboz unfortunately retiring with 4 laps to go. Just 2 more races remain until we get to the finals later on this afternoon. And they will start at 3:15 local time here at the home of champions. Thank you everyone too that has also been watching on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel all the way over the course of this morning and now this afternoon. We will be with you all the way through until about 4:45 this afternoon. Now it is time for our third and final qualifying heats for Junior Rotax. It's qualifying heat 3, A versus B. The field makes its way onto the circuit. This clockwise 1.36 kilometre, 13 turn location, nestled deep in the heart of Limburg. And time again to remind you of our top 3 in the championship coming into this round of the season. And once again, it's birthday boy, 14 years of age today, Jacob Ashcroft on 217 points. Can Vince van der Hollen become the new championship leader at the end of today? Well, we'll find out later on as Noah Barham rounds out the top 3. So the starting grid will be as follows. Vince van der Hollen versus Rory Armstrong on the front row. Mate Kobehidze from Georgia with the Netherlands' Juice Mulder alongside on row 2. Row 3, Max Swiderski and Isaac Barker. Kai Clark and Cole Denham the closer next up. Noah Barham and Ryan Gandor. With Harry Taylor, Christian Sejersen, Devon Mieta, Kian Bernard, Storm van Rossum, Shun Sekaguchi, Harry Freeman, AJ Berggraaf, Lionel Munguia and Jackson Gibson completing the top 20. Will Archer, Ethan Griffiths, Mitanish Jain, Archie Lovett, Mohamed El Bouzaki, Luan Seidel, Kazuki Kitanaka, Justin Funk, Samir Paul, Luca Dumitru, and Ludwig Hansson. That is your grid. 7 minutes plus an additional lap, and then we'll have seniors for one final time before we have all final intermediate classifications. The top 36 juniors and the top 36 seniors will head to the final later on this afternoon. So if you are watching along, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please also share in the YouTube chat who you are supporting here this weekend at the home of champions. It's a pleasure to have you all along as we continue the road to Bahrain, the road to the Persian Gulf, and more importantly, the 2025 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. So 7 minutes plus an additional lap. The drivers come out of the final corner into the tram lines. Revs up, lights on, full start. So full start has been called. So race director Manuel Branco deciding to send all drivers round once again. That is the first full start of the meeting. So pretty good showing so far up until this point. But with the temperatures now, I just looked at the temperature display on my phone. 30 degrees centigrade. It's hot. It is very, very hot. And we still have got more hotter temperatures to come. So, new formation lap. But Rory Armstrong has already... Well, looking back, it was Rory Armstrong that won the opening qualifying heat. Bran van der Weyken won heat 2. If Van der Halle becomes the third different winner, it goes to count back who will be... Well, Bran van der Weyken would not be on the front row of the grid. It would be Van der Halle and Armstrong on the front row. If Armstrong can get the perfect start, do a number on Van der Halle, get the lead early and pull away, that's his best opportunity of being on pole position for the final. So, second time of asking. Red lights on the gantry. Yellow flashing amber light for the full start has been extinguished. So, the drivers come out of the final corner. We're revs up. We're lights on. Lights are out. We're underway. So, it's the run down into turn one. Armstrong trying to keep wheel to wheel with Van der Hollen as they go through the opening corner. Multiple drivers having to use the runoff area. Going out of turn number one as they fan through. 3, 4 wide nearly coming out of turn two. Oh my goodness me, that was very, very close. But it's a good start from Van der Holle, from Armstrong, from Kobe. As a couple of drivers squeezing each other. Going down the Europolon. That's not where you want to have that moment happen. As one driver getting a little bit wide coming out of turn number 8. And I think that might have been Cole Denham, the closer. As several drivers getting a bit switchy under braking. These tyres are being literally put through the ringer. But after the opening lap, it is going to be Rory Armstrong that now leads. And it's a Dan Holland Racing 1-2. George's Matic Obahidze has also got through on Vince van der Holle. This means that if things stay as they are, it's effectively going to put Armstrong on pole, Van der Holle P2, maybe might put Bran van der Weken as Obahidze looks to the inside of the man from Northern Ireland. And Armstrong gets his head down, puts the pedal to the metal and gets away from Obahidze. Obahidze is now the bottle in the cork. I know it's that vacuable like that. That's a wine bottle reference there, my friend. But Obahidze has got the pace. He's in his second year as a junior and really starting to make everything starting to click for the 244 from Dan Holland Racing. Now he's going defensive. Up the inside goes Kai Clark on Vince van der Holle. And now here comes Max Swiderski. And Swiderski and van der Holle know each other well. Kai Clark through for second. Incredible stuff there from the man from KR Sports. Van der Holle retakes third place away from Matic Obahidze. It's musical chairs, Junior Max style at the front end of the field. And now the train is getting longer. But Armstrong has got a little bit of a window at the end. He's got a little bit of window, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But Kai Clark is chasing him down. Christian Sejersen down in 12th is now the fastest driver out on track. Someone's kicked up the dust coming out of turn number 8. Devlin Yates has dropped all the way down to 30th. As we've got just over 4 minutes to go. Archie Lovett and Harry Freeman in the midfield are fastest of anybody in the opening first and second sectors. And Harry Freeman has just done a 57.6 flat. New fastest lap of the race. And I've got a feeling that while Armstrong is going to be looking over his shoulder very quickly, because Kai Clark on that last lap took nearly a tenth out of him. And there is Cole Denham right behind Ryan Gandor, who's overtaken the 294 for position. And that is for 8th. They've got Isaac Barker just in front. Jus Mulder now in 6th. So there's going to be more changes afoot here. Oh, that is a brave move round the outside at turn 9. That was Christian Sejersen. How on earth did the Dane pull off a move like that? Incredible. Absolutely fantastic stuff from the young Dane from RS competition. Maybe he took a leaf out of Robert Schlunzen's book. Oh no! But he's clattered into the side of Archie Lovett and the both are backwards, pointing the opposite direction down the start-finish straight. In the meantime, that means we've got yellow flags at Marshall Post 7 off of turn numbers 12 and 13. We've had another 2 carts on the start-finish straight. So Lionel Munguia and Ludwig Hansson, I think, might have come together. So we've had 2 successive incidents. So Ryan Gandor's got a black and white warning flag. Isaac Barker has also got a warning flag. But two big incidents. Hang on, there's more dramas as well. There's more dramas. Who else? Justin Funk and Samir Paul. Oh, this final race has again... The main thing that there's one thing that I always tend to say. There's a sense of urgency and there's a sense of desperation. The desperation has come in for quite a few drivers. So Archie Lovett out, Lionel Munguia out, Ludwig Hansson out, along with Samir Paul and Justin Funk. Kai Clark is leading. Rory Armstrong's racing so far is going to put him effectively at this moment on provisional pole position for the final. Mate Kobahidze doing a sterling job is the youngster from Georgia. Was P5. And we've had the red flag. Red flag has called a stop to proceedings. So red flag is out with 1 minute and 13 plus an additional lap remaining. Red flags have been issued and it looks like medical team is on site off of the start-finish straight, which means we will have a delay. So from that perspective, it looks like, well, 30 on the adjusted, the time is going to run to, well, the timer is still running according to what I'm seeing on the screen, not on the live timing, but with 1 minute and 13 seconds to go, plus an additional lap. Kai Clark, if that race gets declared now, as it is, Kai Clark will win. Rory Armstrong will be second, ahead of Mate Kobahidze, Max Sidursky, Juice Mulder, Vince van der Halle. Well, it looks like van der Halle and Mulder have swapped to 5th and 6th, respectively. Isaac Barker, Cole Denham, Ryan Gandor, Noah Barham, Harry Freeman, Cian Bernard, Jackson Gibson, Harry Taylor, Will Archer, Mitansh Jain, Storm Van Rossum, AJ Berggraaf, Ethan Griffiths, Shun Sekaguchi, Devrim Yater, Kazuki Kitanaka, Luca Dumoitru, Mohamed El Bouzaki, Christian Sejersen and Luan Seidel will be the drivers classified. Archie Lovett, Samir Paul, Justin Funk, Lionel Munguia and Ludwig Hansson. So I think that race was over 75% distance, so it may be called, and that will mean that Kai Clark from 7th on the road has won the race. Ambulance is on site and heading over to the incident in point at the moment, so there will be a delay. I will keep you updated as soon as I know anything further. So red flag has been called on qualifying heat 3, A versus B for Junior Max. So it looks like we will have a delay as the ambulance is there on the start-finish straight, attending to a medical incident that is requiring its full attention.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are. Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Where you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are. Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just to really give you an update, we have had an incident that has actually required a rapid response ambulance unit and also an ambulance unit
No, ainda estou eu no ar. Thank you. Nuno, vais ter que me tirar direto. Nuno. Nuno, estás a ouvir? Ok, é que passou aqui um jeep, eu tive que me levantar.
Electrical. Oh, far. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well,
Oh, what? One of them.
Thanks, mate.
panique que já estão a ir.
Mais là, de toute façon, il est en trop parce que mon pilote il est pas très en retard. Tu sais qu'on le fait. Mais gros, je suis parti en cours, j'étais en train de travailler, j'avais les gants et tout. Tiens, on va juste se mettre. Et là, rien. J'étais en train de. J'étais en train de lui parler. Ambulance.
Ja.
Oh, ils sont partis, je sais pas comment il y avait pas
Mick staan er hier op de cameras.
There we go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick update. We do have a rapid response vehicle moving over to local municipality here again, heading to the driver.
And Tito Lescali, Philip Nielsen and Armin Hamilton. Row 8, row 9, Ollie Wise and William Pemble, Lloyd Hare and Toffee Krotov will round out the top 20. Completing the 32-strong grid will be as follows. Tina Potier, Sacha N, Tito Rocher, Aida Schmeta, Dante Sima, Taylor Moigne, Brian Koudels, Loris Leclerc, Cameron Nelson, Charlie Smith, Anya Lavar, and Sverre Ubben starting at the back end of the field.
Ready for 7 minutes plus an additional lap of racing. So the race has gotten underway. Several drivers having dramas, some slowing down and actually breaking down here in the extreme heat. A couple of drivers have gone off. So one of which would have been the 361 going off the circuit. And that would have been Bastian Misnil. So a couple of drivers have fallen by the wayside early in this race. So I will try and do my best. We have had some issues here at the moment. Right, so the drivers really trying to, in this extreme heat, that the conditions have been a test for everybody. We have had a few falling by the wayside as things stand. As Tino Sidler battling away, looks like Mehdi Lessued in the 352 for G-Kart 53. They are battling at the sharper end of the field, or a little bit further up the field, but I would imagine that it is going to be Macaulay Bishop that will be leading. Second looks to be Mateo Radenkovic from what I see. Third place, possibly Thijs van Wijk, I would have thought. So Bishop is leading, Radenkovic, I think it was Soichiro Shioda actually that might be P3 at the moment, as there's more battling happening up and down the order. Ollie Wise in the 356, who was 17th at the start, is also trying to move up the order. So this race being 7 minutes plus an additional lap. So at the moment, Macaulay Bishop doing everything that he can to stay ahead of the rest of the opposition and put himself in the best place possible. So, with just coming up to under 2 minutes to go, Macaulay Bishop leads the way by over 0.8 of a second ahead of Mateo Radenkovic. And what a run it has been by one of the Japanese drivers. And that is, in terms of the seniors, that is the 382 Soichiro Shioda, who started down in 8th, now runs P3. Matthias Jederup, Jort van Wyk, Lewis Goff, Tino Sidler, Mehdi Lassued, Andre Remy, and also looks like Lizzie Mentia rounding out your top 10 at the moment. So we are coming towards the conclusion. Cameron Nelson this time moving up the order, currently running in around 21st possession ahead of, I think, well, he's behind Knut Nielsen. Mehdi Lassued, new fastest lap of the race as we are under a minute to go, plus 1 lap. So, nice little run there for the 352. There's Lewis Goff. Just behind Tino Sidler, who is a little bit further down the order. So, started 5th. And currently rounds out, well, currently is P6. So we're on to lap number 8 of this race. Next time around it will be the last lap board being shown for the day. We've had a few drivers actually, unfortunately, retire quite early. Some just completely spluttering to a halt before the race even got going. Meantime, oh, that was a bit robust. Oh, the 382 has just had, well, Shioda has just had a bit of a rude awakening through 2 respective corners. The Japanese driver for Dams Racing coming off the circuit, and one of which would have been Jederup, one of which would have been Jort van Wyk. So the Japanese driver finds himself down just ahead of Tino Sidler and Mehdi Lassued. As we hit 0 on the timer, last lap board is out. Macaulay Bishop still leading Mateo Radenkovic, and Bishop sets the fastest lap of the race, 55.097. So Macaulay Bishop doing exactly what he needs to do. And Tom Lenoir has got a little bit of a wait to find out where he will place. And if he is in the top 36, he's got to do a lot of work to try and keep a hold on to the championship lead for today. But it's going to be coming out of the final 2 corners. Macaulay Bishop once again takes a victory And that is more than pretty much assuring that he will be on pole position for the final later on. So I know that we are running quite a bit behind schedule, obviously, with the ambulance being on the scene from the local hospital. But Macaulay Bishop, after just over 12.2 kilometres, wins ahead of Mateo Radenkovic. Matthias Jallerup rounding out the top three, ahead of Jort van Wijk, and Soichiro Shioda rounding out fifth, ahead of Tino Sidler, Mehdi Lassued, Lewis Goff, Andrea Remy, Titouan Lescali, Thijs van Wijk, and Ollie Wise completing your top 12 on the road, covered by just over 8.8 seconds after 9 laps of racing. Dante Simmer, Armand Hamilton, Charlie Smith, Lizzie Mentia, Sverre Ubben, Bastian Mesnil, Knud Nielsen and Cameron Nelson round out the top 20, ahead of Attila Kalapax, Tino Potier, Lloyd Hare and Anya Laval rounding out the top 24 that crossed the line after 9 laps. Tino Lemoigne, Rain Kairos, Trofim Krotov, Adi Schmitter, Laurie Legris and Titouan Hochet rounding out the 30 strong, completing the race distance. But Macaulay Bishop 2 from 2 in the qualifying heats. That puts him on pole for the finals later on. So we now turn our attention to the finals for day one, round 3, BNL Karting Series 2025. It's now time for the Mini and Mini Rookie final. Here is your starting grid. On the front row, it will be Tom Reed from pole position and Austin Amon alongside on the front row of the grid for what will be a 12-minute plus an additional lap final. Mick Clinkers and Oliver Spencer, row 2. Logan Rolfe and Harry Radcliffe, row 3. Julian Dummer and Finn Albert Jorgensen, row 4, with Lucian Smith and Leo Livings rounding out the top 10. Dean Habits and Arhan Qureshi, row 6. Row 7, Leon Herbos and Lennart Kosta. Tian Vesnea and Paul Dussard. Kian Hay and Atika Asif Mir. Sebastian de Moisac and Ryan Rampadarath round out the top 20. Felix Chang and Ari Kallenberg round out row 11. Head of Sasha Al-Jabrail and Milo de Karlsmaker making an all-Belgian row 12. Augustin Hanik and Conrad Doyle rounding out row 13. Row 14, Mikhail Gottschalk and Arlo Gamble, with Riley Morrow and Noah Stayhouder completing the top 20. Rounding out the 33-strong grid will be Tren van Malik, Malte Holm and Andreas Jellerup. That is your starting grid for this Mini Max and Mini Rookie final. And at this moment in time, Riley Morrow from 29th on the grid has to do one of the biggest comeback drives in that young driver's career right here, right now. And with his main championship rivals on the front row, it's advantage Tom Reed and Austin Oman. Get yourselves ready with your soft drink of choice. Might be a drama for the 153 who's looking a little bit slow. Andreas Jellerup. Apparently chain guard went missing during the previous race. So the Dane demoted to the back of the grid. However, red lights on the gantry. We will go racing this time for the final, which starts now. Green light. We go, and we're underway and racing around the outside of Tom Reed. Tries to go Austin Amon. Oh, and Austin Amon's been turned. And someone else clatters into him. Austin Amon suffers drama in the opening lap of the race. Tom Reed has been given the biggest advantage known to a driver. So Austin Amon tried to keep it around the outside of Tom Reed. Through turn 1, got a tag on the right rear. And then double bubble, Austin Amon got 2 bits of trouble there. Oliver Spencer now, I think, is moved his way up to P2. As now the squabbles start up and down the order. So we come through to complete the opening lap of this race. And now it's everyone for themselves. And Tom Reed has got a lead over Oliver Spencer to the tune of nearly a quarter of a second. Logan Rolfe now P3. Clinkers nearly making it 3 wide. Round the outside goes Lucian Smith. Lucian Smith started 9th and now finds himself in the top 5. Here goes the 131 of Dean Habits from Belgium. Julian Dummer from Germany is also there. But look at the top 2. They have broken away. And Lucian Smith, I think, might now be up into 3rd position. As Oliver Spencer now takes the lead from Tom Reed. Austin Amon now recovering. Mick Clinkers has been given a warning flag by race control, but Tom Reed looking to score a maximum of 55 points. If that happens, he becomes the new championship leader at this point in the season. But even if, well, Austin Amon currently P15. Now, the big question is, Riley Morrow, heavens to Betsy. Riley Morrow started 29th, now is 11th and climbing. He's sprinting up the order. Oh dear. That is drama for the 117. And that is Atika Asifmir. A real shame for the young lady from the Emirates. Also, Atika being the pride of India at the moment. And that is Dayan Habits, the other cart that is involved. But Oliver Spencer holding on ahead of Tom Reed. Riley Morrow is now 6th. Riley Morrow in the opening 3 laps of this final. He's absolutely flying. I cannot believe it. Riley Morrow, DNFs before the start of the qualifying heat. Black flagged in the pre-final. And now is currently 6th. Here goes Tom Reed for the lead. Up the inside of Oliver Spencer. And there is Lucian Smith. Riley Morrow has now moved up 23 positions. And you ain't seen nothing yet, folks. No, no, no. This is where now we're cooking on gas, as they would say, up north. And at the moment, well, Tom Reed would go on to 257 points. Now, where is Riley Morrow? Still currently P6, but it could be 5th very, very shortly. So 48 points. That'll put him on 259. Austin Amon is currently down in 11th position at the moment, so he's probably going to end up being overtaken for 2nd in the championship standings. So 7 minutes, 7.25 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And at the moment, Tom Reed would be on 254. Riley Morrow at the minute, now P5. And that would put him, I would probably say, over 260 points this season. So probably, yeah, if it's 48, yeah, so it's 50 for 3rd. Riley Morrow with another new fastest lap of the race, 59.170 for the 122. Tom Reed through for the race lead. Lucian Smith now waiting. Is Spencer going to move for the inside? Oh my goodness me! Lucian Smith got the buy one, get one free special. Launched it. Launched it through T6. Lucian Smith with the biggest set of I don't know what. Launched it from nowhere. Absolutely nowhere on Oliver Spencer. Riley Morrow now ahead of Tom Reed. Oh, we've got a race on our hands. And Lucian Smith started 9th. Oliver Spencer started 4th. Riley Morrow started 29th. Let me just say that again. 29th. And has the fastest lap of the race. Here goes a change for the race lead again. Now it's Spencer through, Morrow's through. So that is going to put Morrow on 52 points. That'll put him on 263. And Morrow is going to try for the race lead. Oh, little bit of a touch between him and Oliver Spencer. Lucian Smith back through. Tom Reed now back through. Mick Klinkers definitely factors into this. Is 3 wide coming out of turn number 9. Oh, the elbows are out now here in Mini. Oh la la, as the French would say. And now it's going to be Reed up the inside. Reed takes the race lead as we complete lap 7. Oh, this is a corker. You know what? When you get the Minimax drivers racing and it's the final and championship points are on the line, you can bet your bottom dollar Well, Tom Reed, 2:57. Riley Morrow, 2:61. Now, where is Austin Amon? 8th at the minute. So that would be 45 points. We'll put Austin Amon on 254. So, things are getting closer still here in Minimax. We've still got 4.25 minutes to go. But Tom Reed is doing everything he can. Riley Morrow had the lead for about, literally, 2 shakes of a rat's tail. Harry Radcliffe has just had a warning flag from race control as we complete lap number 8. This is what you call a race, folks. This is what you call an absolute classic. Now, Riley Morrow has got through on Lucian Smith. So the driver from Sam Pollitt Racing now up to P2. That will put him on 263. And Tom Reed would be on 257. So 6 points difference between the pair. Austin Amon now up into P6. That'll put him on 255. Oh. All I could say is cry havoc and let slip the Minimax Dogs of War. This is a great race. But Morrow, can he do the unthinkable? Kind of reminds me of ex-F1 driver Roberto Merhi for Team Velarex at the second round of the Autobac Super GT Championship. Their best lap got disallowed during qualifying, had no end of dramas, came back from 29th to win the race. Now, Riley Morrow is getting closer every single time. Finn Albert Jorgensen now up to P7. Lennart Köster from Germany now P10. Andreas Jellerup and Trent Van Malik, they've stormed up the order. Andreas Jellerup up 18 places from 33rd on the grid. But I think it's a case of if, not when. Austin Amon now through on Oliver Spencer. That will be 49 points to him. And that'll be 257. So, Tom Reed, what's the gap between him and Riley Morrow? 2.5 tenths. Leon Herbose now gets a warning flag from race control. And Oliver Spencer hanging on to what I think now is... He's now 4th, so he's ahead of Austin Amon, who drops down to 5th place. But Riley Morrow has 90 seconds plus an... moment there for Lucian Smith. I think it... Well, no, it's not. It's not... there's Logan Rolfe there, actually. So we've got the battle between Oliver Spencer, Austin Amon, Logan Rolfe, Finn Albert Jorgensen, the young Dane. So things are getting very, very close indeed. Temperature in the air now 31 degrees centigrade. And these drivers are putting on a hell of a show as Riley Morrow again trying to get through on Tom Reed. The number 110 from Strawberry Racing holding his racing line at the moment as they head through as Finn Albert Jorgensen sets the new fastest lap of the race, 58.927. Morrow for the lead! Morrow for the lead on lap number 11. Lap number 12. Oh my goodness, the dream has happened. But we're not quite there yet, folks. There is still time in the offing. There's still water to be passed under the bridge. But Riley Morrow, I said, had to do something special. The first 3 laps made all the difference. And the youngster from Sam Pollitt Racing is going to be literally... This is going to be one of the best drives of the season. We now go on to the final lap. And from 29th on the road, he leads. Riley Morrow has about just over 1.1 kilometres to go. The unthinkable. What some people would have said is the impossible. It is the drive of the season so far. And Riley Morrow has done exactly what he's needed to. He's had to fight against adversity. Oh dear. Right, 115. Straight on at Cafe Corner. And that is going to be Mikhail Gottschalk. But down towards turn 10 for what's going to be the final time. What a drive. And there's going to be celebrations in the Sam Pollitt Racing crew tonight. Because through turns 12, through turn 13, from 29th on the grid, Morrow wins! What a drive by Sam Pollitt Racing's Riley Morrow, and he keeps the lead in the championship. Well, would you believe it? Riley Morrow, in all my years of commentating in the BNL Karting Series, never have I seen a drive like that. That is a statement made that it doesn't matter what obstacle you put in front of Riley Morrow. He can lead from the front. He can come from the back. And still, after 13 laps, he still leads provisionally the championship with 266 points. Winning ahead of Tom Reed, Lucian Smith, Oliver Spencer, Mick Klinkers, Austin Amman, Harry Radcliffe, Logan Roll, Finn Albert Jorgensen, Lennart Köster, rounding out the top 10. Julian Dummer, Leon Hobos, Arhan Qureshi, Ari Kallenberg, Andreas Jellerup, Trent Van Melick, Leo Livings, Paul Dussart, Kian Hay and Conrad Doyle rounding out the top 20. Arlo Gamble, Sasha Al-Jabrail, Ryan Rampadath, Malte Holm, Augustin Hanik, Noah Stehauder, Sebastian de Mozak, Milo de Karlsmaker, and congratulations Felix Chang for finishing your first final in the BNL Karting Series in 29th, the last classified finishers, ahead of Tian Vesnaya, Mikhail Gottschalk, Dion Hubbets and Atika Asifmir. I need, in the words of my good friend Henry Baudet, a dark room to lie down in, a bed, and I need my tablets after what a drive from Riley Morrow from 29th to win the mini and mini rookie final by 3/10 after 13 laps. And very shortly we'll be getting underway with our next final, because up next it'll be DD2 and DD2 Masters.
jumped wide.
Now that I've had time to digest that, Jen Wade, good afternoon. Watching from Austria. Yes, what a race indeed. We've got another one in prospect coming up right now because we've got DD2 and DD2 Masters. Can Sam Knopfjes keep his 100% success rate here after two back-to-back weekends of clean sweeps? Here's your starting grid. Sam Knopfjes starts from pole position. The French hotshot Antoine Barberou will line up alongside on the front row. Nicolas Guillaume and William Norbeek round out your top two rows. Len Nyes and Bendit Sabo round out the top three rows. And here at the moment is your top three in the respective classes. Christophe Capitan, will he keep the lead in DD2 Masters? We'll find out after this one. Jeremy Brasler and Michael Becker. Could there be a shift in second and third in the championship? Wait and see to find out. Then we go to the top three in Max DD2. Sam Knopfjes, 4 wins in a row. Can it be win number 5 here at the home of champions here on a very hot Saturday afternoon in June? Frederick Zebis, the youngster from Denmark, and Antoine Barberou, one of France's hallowed talents in DD2 in Rotax, is going to be looking to see if he can break the win streak. So, Gustav Susakovs, I did message Yanis earlier and say, what's going on? Haven't heard a dicky bird from him, but never mind. If Gustav's is ill, I can understand that completely. So, Len Nyes and Bendit Sabo will be on row 3. Axel Hoos and Christophe Capitan, row 4. Manuel Attenchert and Frederick Zebis will be on row number 5, completing your top 10. Head of Michael Rittenpreis and Michael Becker. Maurice Knopfjes and Jeremy Brasler make it an all DD2 Masters next row. Head of Mattis Ankans, Wood Kirstens, Kian de Brandt, Dimitri Ostrovsky, William Christensen and Lawrence Herbose round out your starters. Red lights on the gantry as we are set and ready for 15 minutes, plus an additional lap of racing. Revs up, lights on, and we're green. We're underway. Good start by Sam Knopfjes. And this is going to allow Nicolas Guillaume to get through very quickly. Len Nyes trying to dive up the inside of Antoine Barberou as well. But Barberou is going to keep a hold of the position for the meantime. The field makes its way through towards turn 5. As Bendit Sabo trying to get through on Len Nyes in the meantime. Looks like Manuel Tenchert's got the bit between his teeth as well as the man from Austria. But Knopfjes, Guillaume, Barberou round out the top 3. Fourth will be, I think that's going to be Len Nyes. He's ahead. And Len Nyes got through on Antoine Barberou, who had a bit of a slip-up going through turn 9. Oh dear, well. And Guillaume Ménager going, Allez Antoine! I know exactly who you're cheering on, Mr. Barberou. Barberou who's now got Len Nyes in front, Bendit Sabo behind him. Sam Knopfjes leads, Nicolas Guillaume less than 3/10 behind after the opening lap. And Barberou retakes third place off of Len Nyes. And Len Nyes trying every trick in the karting Genk playbook there. I've seen that before, sunshine. Oh, it's great to see these younger drivers coming through into DD2 now, such as Len Nyes, such as Gustav Zusakov. So I was really looking forward to seeing how he was getting on. I've seen the progression of Axel Hoos, William Norbeek, I think, Frederick Zebis, Kian de Brandt. But then seeing some of the older guards, such as Michael Becker, who I've known for years, based out of Hagen in Germany. Seen of one of the most testing races for British karting legend Terry Fullerton, who back in the 1970s was a teammate of Ayrton Senna da Silva at the DAP factory team that year. But Barberou is between a bit of a rock and a hard place. He's losing time to Guillaume and Knopfjes, who are a little bit further up the road. But more to the point, he's got to get away from Nyes and also Sabo behind. But if they start battling away, those two, then that's going to give him the opportunity and the impetus to get away. And Guillaume keeping Knopfjes very, very honest. They have got previous. They did compete against each other for the DD2 Chrono Karting crown right up until the season finale last November. But Knopfjes keeping a hold of that lead. 3 laps in the books. Knopfjes calmly getting on with the business at hand. As Len Nyes up the inside, retakes third. Nearly opened the door for Bendit Sabo in the meantime to get through for fourth. However, Manuel Tencha, oh, it's Mr. Fastest Lap Merchant back once again. Uh, 55.261 on that particular occasion for the man in the 484 from Austria. He's closing in on Axel Hoos. Len Nyes has gone purple. Sector 2. But there goes Bendit Sabo. Antoine Barberou is losing positions here and there. And where is Frederick Zebis in all of this? Frederick Zebis now 9th. Oh, here goes Axel Hoos. Barberou has to try and keep out of the way, keep out of any problematic situations that might come his way. And they're coming towards him from behind. Axel Hoos nearly dives to the inside of turn number 5. Down the Europolan. But then has to cover off Manuel Tencha going through off of turn 6. Allows Barberou to escape with a clean set of heels. Or a clean set of Mojo D5s thereof. And at the moment, well, in terms of DD2 Masters, can Michael Becker get a win this season? It's been a tall order for the man from Hagen in Germany. I'm wondering if he's got one of his Frankenstein chassis being used at the moment. Or is he still using Der Roter, the red chassis? Antoine Barberou's just had a warning flag from race control. And that's basically a case of them saying, we are keeping our keen eyes on you, young sir. And as I say that, Lawrence Harbos, the 498 from Bouvin Power, now gets the new fastest lap of this race. 54.833. Nicely done there. Lawrence has moved up from last. Now currently runs P13 at the moment. We still have 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Plus an additional lap still remaining on the timer. But that means that anything can happen. Yeah, I kind of agree there, Guillaume. There could be a possible technical issue there. Maybe that Antoine Barberou's having to work with a mechanical problem. But also we have to consider the fact it is 31 degrees Celsius air temperature. There is not a cloud in the sky. Manuel Tencha retakes the fastest lap back once again. 54.784. So the Austrian once more, again, showing his pace at this circuit. And Lawrence Harbos now makes his way past William Nordbeek. And that is for 11th position. And Michael Becker. Now, Michael Becker, in comparison with Christophe Capitan, is lapping pretty much the same. Capitan's last lap was a 55.352. Michael Becker, 55. Well, it's a 55.168 for Capitan. Becker, who's now 4 karts behind him. That was a 55.295. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that at the moment. So we are fast approaching half time in this 15 minutes plus an additional lap final. And Sam Knopfjes, his lead over the last few laps has not exceeded half a second, but it's on the bubble of doing so. But Nicolas Guillaume is lapping consistently at the same point. Manuel Tencher has more than at his ready brake. He's had his oats to go with it as well. Another new fastest lap. 54.644. And it just goes to show how competitive DD2 since its introduction as a class, because Rotax did not have the belief of the chassis providers way back as history dictated it. Anyone might have heard the history from Helmut Vogelsam himself, as there goes Bendit Sabo up the inside through on Len Nyes. Oh, they clash wheels. Bob Roo's going to get through for fourth. And here goes Manuel Tencher. Oh, front axle from Len Nyes bouncing up and down in front of the Austrian. That was definitely a moment that Len Nyes will not forget in a hurry. Tencher will dive to the inside and get that place. That's fifth for the 484 from Austria. If anyone might remember the history, that Rotax went out and decided to develop their own chassis, put it on at the grand finals, and then there was the belief. Now DD2 is one of the most competitive karting categories I know in the globe. Plus with the talent that have been DD2 champions, even DD2 Masters champions. I know of two DD2 Grand Finals champions here in person, and they're both driver coaching. One is Mark Kimber, one is Ragnar Virus. Yes, boys, you've been name checked. And Mark Kimber has done this treble, which is Junior Max Grand Finals champion, Senior Max Grand Finals champion, and then just a handful of years ago went and became a DD2 Grand Finals champion. No one else has equalled that feat. So coming up to the last 4 minutes and 40 plus an additional lap here. Knopfjes is starting to pull a gap. It's 0.8 of a second. Manuel Tencher is absolutely flying. 54.508, and with just under 4.5 minutes to go, guess how far he is behind Sam Knopfjes? 3.1 seconds. Oh, he's driving like he's enjoying it. And now he's got to try and close in on Antoine Barbeau, then fellow Birolart driver Bendit Sabo in the meantime. But Knopfjes doing everything in his power. The 420, the man from the Netherlands. It's also in competitions. Well, I mean, he was quite a late starter in karting. You know, I had an opportunity to get to know Zem last year during chrono karting, and the thing was he started quite late, but he was a quick learner, and that has showcased into what kind of polished gem we have in front of us. Now Guillaume is starting to ramp up the pace. Bendit Sabo is also doing the same. He's just gone purple in Sector 2. Manuel Tenchet is within striking distance of Antoine Barbaroux for 4th place on the road. This is where things could be very, very interesting indeed. As there we go, it's happened. Tenchet got through on Barbaroux, and it was beautiful. It was poetry in motion, but Barbaroux is not going to let that place go to waste. And they have got a very hard charging Len Nye. He's not that far behind them. But Zen Knopfjes now on what is lap number 15 is nearly 7/10 of a second ahead of Nicolas Guillaume. Bendit Sabre P3, Manuel Tenchet 4th ahead of Antoine Barbaroux. Frederick Zebis now 7th. This will mean that Knopfjes will further extend his lead, and it will put him on a total of 275 points. That is 5 wins from 5. And I know that Jan Dams is looking on at the man that he's put in one of his carts and gone, right, I know what you're capable of. Let's go for it. Let's go and get some titles, some trophies to put on the mantelpiece. Manuel Tenchet, first driver to dip under 54.5 seconds, 54.472. And he was quicker than Antoine Barbaroux, who only just put in his personal best, was over a 10th.5 slower. We head into the final 35 seconds, plus an additional lap. We've still got 2 more races to go. The 12-minute plus an additional lap Junior Max final, and then seniors to close the show here today. 15 minutes plus an additional lap. So the best part of nearly half an hour's worth of karting action to entertain you. And Nicolas Guillaume, oh my God, fathers, Manuel Tenchet. I think he's had the most fastest laps in one race than any driver I've seen all weekend. That's probably going to be at least his 7th or 8th fastest lap. 54.368. Timer strike 0, so next time around we will get the final lap board. And Zen Knopfjes is definitely not feeling the heat under the collar. He's soaking up the pressure like the proverbial sponge, as we will have 1.36 kilometres to go. So for the 18th and final time, we are on the last lap of the DD2 in the DD2 Masters Final. Christophe Capitan will continue to lead DD2 Masters, but Michael Becker will overtake Jeremy Brasler in the points in DD2 Masters and go to 2nd in the standings. But when it was all said and done, there was one person that has done everything right, not put a foot wrong at all, and it is this man here, Zen Knopfjes, the pride of the Netherlands, the pride of Dams Racing, and what's more, has been very, very much unchallenged. A very different driver, a more complete package. Out of the final corner, it's 100% success rate continues. Knopfjes once again takes victory, and with it the maximum 55 points. Zen Knopfjes, if only I could say one word, it would begin with a G and end with an E, and I won't say it, but my goodness me, that man there, 275 points 100% finals winner this season. Zem Knopfjes does it again, winning by just over 7.5 tenths from Nicolas Guillaume, and Bendit Szabo rounding out the top three. Manuel Tenchet fourth, and the fastest lap merchant of the race once again, ahead of Antoine Barberou, Len Noyes, Frederick Zebis, Axel Hoos, William Noah Bacon, William Christensen. Et c'est aussi une victoire pour le pilote français Christophe Capitain de l'équipe RM Concept. So Christophe Capitain wins in DD2 Masters in 11th head of Wood Kirstens. Kian de Brandt, Mathis Ankans and Michael Becker will take P2 in the standings for DD2 Masters as he takes 15th head of Moritz Knopfjes, who rounds out the top three, with Marco Treppenpreis and Dmitry Ostrovsky rounding out the finishers. Lawrence Herbo's out with 5 laps to go, and Jeremy Bransler unfortunately retiring on lap 10, with Gustav Zusakovs a non-starter. Next up, it's the final for Junior Max.
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
where you can't afford mistakes. Because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are. Why do you come here? Is this your career?
or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best, challenging yourself over and over again? Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
So we are moments away from getting our top 36 final for the Junior Rotax division underway as race director Manuel Branco brings all the Junior Rotax drivers to the front of the dummy grid, just explaining what he expects of the drivers. So the top 36 have made it through to this point of the competition, whereby the maximum score any one driver can attain is 55 points. Now, Jacob Ashcroft not being here this weekend means that there is going to be a shift, more than likely, at the sharp end of the championship table.
You understand what to expect and what you have to do to end the race immediately. Okay? Once again, look at yourself, think at what
And it is going to be a very, very hot race in terms of air temperature, track temperature, and of course the drivers will have to keep cool heads on calm shoulders for 12 minutes plus an additional lap here at the Home of Champions, as the drivers are now sent back to their karts. And after the intermediate classification, after the qualifying heats, it's Rory Armstrong, the man from Northern Ireland, that will lead the field from pole position. 31st in the championship, but he has been doing fantastically well quite recently in Nuts Corner with a clean sweep the other weekend. And ably assisted by Dad Andy and Mum Orla being here as well. But Bran van der Weyken, who will be to the immediate outside, the 296 through Bouvin Power, has a chance to make his mark here today. And at the moment, well, just having a look at where Bran van der Weyken is, 24th in the standings coming into this fifth opportunity of scoring points. So clear the grid is being instructed to all the mechanics to the last bits of good luck, well wishes, last bits of advice. But another driver to watch out, Kai Clark, the 267 from KR Sport, has done a really good job this weekend. Mate Kobe from Georgia is also one to watch, and he'll be starting from the inside of row number 3. Cole Denham, the closer, always never wise to count that person out. There's a whole host of talent in this field that have an opportunity of scoring a maximum of 55 points for the victory. 52 for second, 50 for third. As the anticipation, the atmosphere is reaching fever pitch. It's great to see the drivers being given this opportunity to showcase their skills live here at the Home of Champions. So the driver's instructed via the green flag at the end of the dummy grid to get onto the circuit, and it's 12 minutes plus an additional lap for the Junior Rotax final. Day 1 of round 3 2025. And Rory Armstrong and Bran van der Weyken, 31st and 24th in the championship standings, will lead us from the front row. Here's a reminder of the top 3 ranked drivers up to this point. Jacob Ashcroft, 217 points. Vince van der Hollen, 206. And Noah Barham rounding out the top 3. Noah Barham will be starting towards the bottom part of the top 10. So here it is, your starting grid for the top 36 Junior Rotax final. Rory Armstrong from pole position, Bran van der Weyken alongside on the front row. Kai Clark and Vince van der Holle rounding out row number 2. Mate Kobe and Max Siderski rounding out the top 3 rows ahead of Cole Denham, the closer, joined by Belgium's Lars Lambers. Frederick Flood, Engelbretts and Noah Barham round out the top 10. Sebastian Lersch and Harry Taylor, row number 6. Boris Maximoff and Jules Mulder, and All Dutch, row 7. Alex Goodson and Isaac Barker, row 8. Kian Bernard, Harry Freeman, Albert Friend and Will Archer round out your top 20. Shun Sekiguchi, another quick driver from Japan to watch. He'll be joined by Lieke van Berkel on row 11. Alongside that will be Ethan Griffiths and Jackson Gibson from the UK and the USA respectively. AJ Bergdorf, Louis Radcliffe, Lionel Munguia, Mohamed El Bouzaki, Vilmos Vilizits, Kazuki Kitanaka, Christian Sejersen, Storm van Rossum, Antoine Silva-Venant, Olivier Chasse, Luan Seidel, and Romania's Luca Dumitru rounds out your 36-strong grid that made it through to this point. One of the biggest casualties, Ryan Gandor from Canada, is not in the top 36 final, meaning, unfortunately, the 205 from KR Sports may lose 6th in the championship. But the red lights are on the starting gantry. The field led by Messrs Armstrong and Van der Weyken. It's 12 minutes as they will now accelerate out of the final corner into the tram lines. I think this could be a full start. Yes, it's confirmed. We're going to go around for another tour. And just another way to heighten the anticipation here in this final. However, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, folks. And each one of these drivers knows exactly what they need to do. Don't forget, we've got to do this all again tomorrow. So mechanical sympathy, conservation, but also a calm head on cool shoulders will prevail underneath the searing Saturday afternoon sunshine here in Belgium. The red lights back on the starting gantry. Can we go racing second time around? Revs up, lights on. And the lights are out. We're underway. Good start by Armstrong. As everyone tries to make their way through, Kai Clark will get through on Bran van der Weyken, so will possibly Mate Kobahidze if he tries hard enough. However, everyone makes it through. We've had one actually end up coming out of the dummy grid as everyone making their way up towards turn number 6. Well, turn number 5 for the first time. Looks like the lead has been lost by Rory Armstrong. And I think it's Kai Clark that's leading. It is. I do see a flash of KR Sport Saturday whites. 3 wide coming out of turn number 8. That was a bit perilous there. Someone's gone onto the grass and started mowing it. And it is going to be Kai Clark leading. Mate Kobahidze looks to be up into P2. Battle for 3rd. So after the opening lap, it is Kai Clark leading from Mate Kobahidze, Bran van der Weyken, Rory Armstrong, Cole Denham now 5th. Frederik Flood, Engelbrecht, Noah Barham rounding out the top 7 ahead of Vince van der Holle, Max Swiderski and Harry Taylor. Shun Sekiguchi and Lieke van Berkel have both moved up 4 places apiece. 17th and 18th they run respectively at the moment. There's the 212 of RS Competitions, Frederik Flood, Engelbrecht, the Norwegian racer. And Albert Friend is the biggest loser so far. 10 positions lost by the Strawberry Racing driver over the opening tour. Very soon going to be completing lap number 2. But Kai Clark is pulling away from Mate Kobahidze, the youngster from Georgia, currently 12th in the standings on 138 points. Bran van der Weyken 3rd, Rory Armstrong running in 4th. Fastest lap of the race, Juice Mulder, 58.312. by the man from the Netherlands, up from 14th now, running P10. Guy Clark, in the meantime, has started to pull away a little bit further from Mate Kobe, but Max Siderski opening fastest sector of the race so far. 23.289 by the Belgian for SP Motorsport. Running in the 2.97. Rory Armstrong now starting to get the bit between his teeth. As a little bit further back, Noah Barham ahead of Cole Denham, I believe, as they make their way through into turns 12 and 13. So Clark will lead after lap 3. Kobe, Van der Weyken, Armstrong, Flood Engelbrechts, Cole Denham, Vince van der Holle, Max Siderski and Noah Barham, with Juice Mulder running at the top 10. And there is the 2.94 of Cole Denham. Harry Taylor, now fastest of anybody. The number 225 puts in a 57.817, an ideal lap time with all the sectors combined. 57.36. But there is still going to be plenty of race distance remaining in this Junior Max final. But Kai Clark has come out with firing on all 125 cc's of displacement of the Rotax Max Evo engine, powering the car on the right hand side of the chassis. Now, after the opening 4 laps, here goes the 2.94 up the inside. Cole Denham through on Frederick Flood Engelbrechts, and that is for 5th place. So at the moment we have KR Sport leading, DHR second, Bouvin Power, and then you add DHR and DHR in that mix as well, with Rory Armstrong and Cole Denham. 3 of the top 5 from Dan Holland Racing are in contention for the race victory. Coming down to just under 5 minutes completed of this 12-minute plus an additional lap race. And Mate Kobe, the youngster from Georgia, trying to do his best to close into the man in front, and he went over a 1/10 of a second quicker, make that nearly 2/10 of a second quicker. Mate Kobe with a 56.901. As there is Max Siderski being passed, that's by Vince van der Holle. So van der Holle trying to do his utmost to get as many points on the board. He knows that he will overtake Jacob Ashcroft in the standings, but it's a case of what happens behind. Juice Mulder looking up the inside, the 274 of Noah Barham. And Noah Barham might get a good amount of points here, but can it be enough? Frederick Flood Engelbrechts drops behind Van der Holle and Siderski. There's a little bit further back. Mohamed El Bouzaki gets a warning flag from race control. The 237 currently sitting in 29th, just ahead of Switzerland's Luan Seidel. And there goes another move here. That is on the 258. Shun Sakaguchi. His son. Oh, dearie me, no. 1 into 2 into 3 does not go. So one had the back bumper mounted, and the other one got of course, Shun Sakaguchi, the son of Super GT 500 driver for Team Sard alongside Sasha Fenestraz, Yuhi Sakaguchi, who I've had the pleasure of commentating on as well quite recently in the first and second rounds of the Automax Super GT Championship. So the apple, just like the Prio family, doesn't fall far from the tree in the ranks of the Sakaguchis in Japan. So Kai Clark trying to close, well, trying to get away from Mate Kobe, but the Georgian looking for his first win of the championship season in the BNL Karting Series. And Kobe, who I said is a little bit further down the order at the moment. Kobe currently 12th at the moment. Best finish was final number 2 at the season opener. And now it's going to be a case of one driver losing a few places. Isaac Barker loses a place or two. Vince van der Holle is charging 56.362 for the 228 from Bouvin Power. Now back up into 6th position. Meantime, Juice Mulder is losing places. And that's 4 out of the out of turns 5 and 6 out of the Europelon. So Juice Mulder trying to do what he can. Obviously, by putting him in as many races as possible, it's giving him experience. So we're coming down to the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds. As the 2-1-3, Noah Barham loses a place to Lars Lambers. Mate Kobe is within half a second of Kai Clark, but in the meantime, there is the 2-2-5 of Harry Taylor. He's got the hard-charging Norwegian. Oh, that was a bump and run there from the 2-12. That's now going to bring in, I think probably more than likely, Lars Lambers into that. Oh, and Lambers sideways. He manages to hold it, but loses at least 6 positions through turn 8. Oh, it's just, you see these drivers, they try so hard, and now it gets to the point where the more points you gather, the better off you are. And now Kai Clark has got a comfortable lead. But Mate Kobe is not going to give up. He's going to put everything into it. Right up until the checkered flag waves. Harry Freeman between a rock and a hard place. He's got his teammate Will Archer from KR Sport in front. Behind they've got Lars Lambers, who's tumbled all the way down to 15th. And just in front looks like they've got Kian Bernard as well. In the 292, he's up 5 spots from 17th on the grid. Runs 12th at the minute. Biggest mover up the order, Christian Sejersen, up from 31st. Now runs 17th. Storm Van Rossum from 32nd. Now 22nd on the road. Mate Kobe is closing that gap. Kobe did a 56.2. Kai Clark, 56.43. There is an overwhelming sense of something else happening, and that's more than likely going to be a new race winner, because 3 out of the 4 races so far this season have been won by birthday boy Jacob Ashcroft. 3 out of the 4 so far. And it was Vince van der Holle that took the victory at the final race on day 2 of the season opener. But who is it going to be? Now, where is Noah Barham in all of this? He's 9th at the moment. But we are going to, next time around, we've crossed the line with 30 seconds to go. Kobe got to pull everything out of the bag, as there is Rory Armstrong. He's back through on Cole Denham. P4, that'll be 49 points for Armstrong, 48 for the closer. As now there goes Vince van der Holle. Here goes Rory Armstrong. And, well, that is now allowing The 2-2-8. There tries Max Sadurski through on Cole Denham. Lionel Munguia's just had the black flag. We've gone 0 on the timer. 12 minutes plus an additional lap are up. And next time around it is going to be the last lap of the race. And it's 0.27 between Kai Clark and Mate Kobe. The United Kingdom versus Georgia versus Belgium with Bran van der Weyken in P3. But I don't think Mate Kobe has got enough. Kai Clark has done exactly what he's needed to do. He started from the inside of the second row of the grid. Kobe-Hitze's done a sterling job so far this weekend and has really helped himself out. Now, where is Kai Clark in all of this with regards to the... Well, because there is the Rotax Max Euro Trophy here next weekend, so Kai Clark will be competing in that one. However, we go down to the final couple of corners. Out of the last turn, it's a new winner. It's KR Sports, Kai Clark that wins. Mate Kobe-Hitze just under 2.5 tenths behind, and on the last lap of the race gets the fastest lap. Well done to that young man from Georgia. 56.075. Bran van der Weyken takes P3. Vince van der Holle takes 4th, and with it becomes the provisional new championship leader after 5-point scoring opportunities. Rory Armstrong finishes P5, a strong result for the man from Northern Ireland, ahead of Max Sadurski, Cole Denham, the closer, Frederick Flood Engelbretts, and Noah Barham rounding out the top 9 with Juice Mulder 10th. Harry Taylor, Cian Bernard, Christian Sayerson, Harry Freeman, Will Archer, Lars Lambers, Isaac Barker, Boaz Maximov, Alex Goodson, Lika Van Berkel running at your top 20. Shun Sekaguchi, Albert Friend, Storm Van Rossum, Louis Radcliffe, Sebastian Lersch, Jackson Gibson, Vilmos Wilzitz. Then we've got AJ Bergeraff, Luan Seidel, and Ethan Griffiths rounding out the top 30. Antoine Silva Venant, Kazuki Kitanaka, Olivier Chasse, Mohamed El Bouzaki, and Luca Dumoitru rounding out the 35 finishers. And unfortunately, with 3 laps to go, Lionel Munguia getting the black flag. But Kai Clark from KR Sport takes the win in the first junior final of the weekend, which started off with Rory Armstrong starting in pole position, but the man from KR Sport doing the big business from the inside of row 2 to take victory. So, one more race to go, and it is the Senior Rotax final. However, there have been some developments, because not everybody will be starting on track. Some drivers, which will include Strawberry Racing's Tino Sidler, who's going to be starting from the repair area, which is on the right-hand side by the dummy grid. There you see Matej Radenkovic, who's going to be starting on the outside of the front row. So we do have Tino Sidler. I think I also spotted another number there, which was Trofim Krotov in the 367. So we are going to have a couple of drivers that will be starting from the repair area. So once the lights go out on the starting gantry, then and the traditional race start gets underway, those drivers will then be released onto the circuit. There is Germany's Sebastian Koch with his mechanic from Dams Racing, been given the last few bits and pieces of advice and just helping the driver to focus before we clear the grid. And well, with that, the grid is being cleared here at the Home of Champions. So, the winners so far this season: Tom Lanois, Macaulay Bishop, Cameron Nelson, and Matej Radenkovic. Those are your 4 different winners. Will it be 5 different winners from 5? Be interesting to find out. Now, Macaulay Bishop has been pretty much confident and dominant at the same time. Has run to the victory in both of his respective heats. Radenkovic has been, again, showing the great turn of speed that I've seen from this young individual from Belgium, with Serbian heritage as well, and I know the family is watching. Good to catch up with Alexander, Matej's dad, a little bit earlier on, and I just said to him, to say, good luck from me, and just say, go out there and just kick some backside. And that's exactly what Matej has also been doing in his own right. However, it is now the opportunity to score points. So the green flag waves at the last time of the day on the dummy grid as we get set and ready. Understarters orders for the top 36 final for Senior Max for day 1, round 3, BNL 2025 here at the Home of Champions. And let's give you a reminder of the top 3 ranked drivers in the championship. Tom Lanois, the man from France, on 209 points. Will he keep the lead in the championship, or will it go to Macaulay Bishop from the United Kingdom? And Tino Sidler has got a lot of work to do. Jules Levar and Trofim Krotov are the 2 other drivers that will start from the repair area. So your starting grid will be Macaulay Bishop, Matej Radenkovic on the front row, Sebastian Koch and Matthias Jellerup rounding out the top 2 rows. Tino Sidler would be alongside Soichiro Shioda, but the Japanese driver in the 382 will ride solo on row 3. Mehdi Leswed and Nolan Lemarais make it an all-French row 4, ahead of Bastien Mesnil and Thijs van Wijk, with brother Yort and Ollie Wise next up. Laro Kuhenitse and points leader Tom Lanois, followed by Dean Pedersen and Lizzie Mentier from the USA and the United Kingdom. Then it's Titouan Lescali and Charlie Smith, Ollie Yonkers and Ryan Bourguignon, Attila Kalapax and Omar Ganoum, Sverre Ubben and André Remy, Tino Potier and Lewis Goff, Dante Simmer and Armand Hamilton, Lloyd Hare, Trofim Krotov starting from the repair area, Christopher Holst, Mathis Turlo, Knud Nielsen, Anya Levar, Enzo Zani and Jules Levar set to round out the grid. We are coming down towards the last couple of moments of the formation lap. 15 minutes plus an additional lap of racing to see who will be the winner for the 5th final this season in senior Rotax. Can Macaulay Bishop become the first 2-time winner? Can the same be said of Matej Radenkovic? But with a few different factors in the mix, we go. Revs up for the final time. Lights are out. We're underway. And it's the run down to turn 1. Bishop will lead. Sebastian Koch looking up the inside of teammate Matej Radenkovic. As everyone trying to make it through. As the 3 other drivers, Tino Sidler, Trofim Krotov and Jury Levar, get released from the dummy grid. And they are trying to catch up with the field in front. But it is Macaulay Bishop that leads the way. Matej Radenkovic P2. Sebastian Koch, Matthias Jaderup rounding out the top 4 at the moment. We'll make that the fact that Sebastian Koch, I think, is currently still holding on to 3rd position. So Soichiro Shioda rounds out 4 of the top 5 karts, being from Dams Racing. The drivers making their way through into the opening, the end of the opening lap. So Bishop leads by just under 3/10. Ahead of Radenkovic, Koch, Jaderup, Shioda, Nolan Emirate up 2 places. As here we go, it's Matthias Jaderup. Oh my goodness me. KR Sport had Kai Clark win the junior final, and now we've got Matthias Jaderup trying to go after Macaulay Bishop. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. Mehdi Laswed is also trying to move up in the G-Kart 53 Sodi kart. Sodi kart, the brand based not too far outside of the place where legends are born. Le Mans, the brand run and operated through Bertrand Pignelet. Sodi kart, a well-known and well-established partner of Rotax at the grand finals. But Matej Radenkovic trying to do what he can to close back in on the Dane. So biggest movers at the moment. Tom Lenoir up to 14th. Charlie Smith now up to 12th from 18th. Lewis Goff up 9 spots from 26 on the grid. Now currently runs P17. It's a hard-fought affair out there at the circuit. As you can just literally see pelotons here, pelotons there. As the 355 of Tom Lenoir easily got through on Mehdi Laswed through at turn 10. And now there's going to be further altercations. Ollie Wise has Bastien Mesnil up the inside along with Lado Kuhanidze. And then Ollie Wise makes it 2. Well, it goes from 2's company. 3's the crowd. Kuhanidze loses out to Ollie Wise. And Matthias Jaderup now starting to give chase. New fastest lap by the Dane. 56.484 seconds. As round the out. Oh my goodness me. Soichiro Shioda around the outside of Mehdi Laswed. And that was coming out of turn number 5. Someone had a bit of a trip up. I think that might have been Bastien Mesnil through at turn 6. Ollie Wise has just been given a warning flag by race control. So the 356 needs to be on his best behaviour. As Mehdi Laswed now back through on Soichiro Shioda. And that is for 7th on the road. Charlie Smith is 3 places away from the top 10. Lewis Goff is up 11 places now. Matej Radenkovic, new fastest lap of the race. Man in 3rd position. 56.049. But still plenty of opportunity in the next 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Plus an additional lap of this race. But Tom Longnoir has now got a definitive bona fide chance of becoming another driver to has an opportunity. Longnoir has placed nowhere outside of the top 3 this season so far. And he's just put in the fastest lap of the race. 55.595 for the Frenchman. Mehdi Laswed in the Sodi kart, fastest in the opening sector, but look at the train. There's a big old train, and right in the middle of it, I think, well, it was towards the back of it, Tino Sidler, who has now made his way up to 26th position, was due to start 5th. Nolan Emery from RM Concept now fastest overall in sector number 1. Lizzie Mentia was just outside of the top 20. She's now recovered so far to 18th position behind the UAE's Oscar Ganoum. But now, at this moment, Matthias Jellerup is starting to, fraction by fraction, close that gap on Macaulay Bishop as we head into the final 9 minutes of the race day, plus an additional lap. And the battles are fast and furious up and down the order. Nolan Emery, new fastest lap time, 55.544, as the 370 gets past. Dante Sima, I think that was by Armand Hamilton. There is the 314. Oh no! Drama for Tino Sidler! And that bumper is bent upwards on the right-hand side. Oh, heavens forbid. Tino Sidler, P3 in the championship up until this point. That is going to compromise his points finish. Now, where is Charlie Smith? Charlie Smith is 11th and climbing. Lewis Scoff now 12th. All I can say is keep your eyes on the 312 and the 351 of Strawberry Racing and Sam Pollitt Racing. Charlie Smith now has a bona fide opportunity. If he finishes 8 places in front, well, he will finish 8 places in front. He is going to be 3rd in the championship standings, possibly, dependent on how close he finishes to Sebastian Koch. Now, Sebastian Koch, if he finishes in 4th position, that's 49 points. So that'll put him on 223. Charlie Smith on 11th will be 42, so it'll be nip and tuck. But as I said, you never count anything out. You never count your chickens before they hatch. Because 7 minutes plus a lap in a senior Rotax final can feel like an absolute eternity. But at the moment, Macaulay Bishop is doing the business. Tom Longnoir is now 4th. So that would still keep Longnoir as the championship leader. If it's 4th, that will be 49 points. That'll put him on 258. Macaulay Bishop with a victory. Well, Macaulay Bishop to... Let's just have a look at this. So let's look at it from this perspective. And I am using a calculator. 258, Longnoir. Bishop. 251. So the lead would shrink by about half. Approximately. But Tom Longnoir, to try and get up to If he gets to third, that'll be 259 points. And that will put him 8 in front of Bishop. At the moment, that will be 7 points differential. And what is it now at the moment? 13. So nearly halved, give or take. Macaulay Bishop hasn't put a foot wrong here on day one. Not at all. There is Matej Radenkovic trying to close in on Matthias Jallerup. There's also going to be some furious battles up and down the order. Nevertheless, right up until the checkered. We've got just over 4.5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. So there's still plenty of opportunities for a fly to be put in the proverbial ointment. Or waiter, there's a fly, my soup. Sverre Ubben has been progressively moving up the order. And, well, he's now in 21st, having started 23rd on the grid. So Sverre Ubben having a very difficult race day on home track soil. But there's an opportunity for him to get into the top 20. He's going to look to the inside of the 301 Omaganum at turn 9 and has got the move done. But they are battling tooth and nail. And there's some very, very big battles going on. Lewis Goff now having to defend. And then through goes Jort van Wyk in the 333. Along with that, Titouan Lescali is involved in that battle. That is for 11th position. Charlie Smith now finding that he's actually moving away from that battle. He's about 3 seconds up the road. As 6 line astern is not going to go well. And that was the 318 of Lescali. Front axle in the air and hits the ground hard. But there's dramas. Oh no! Drama for that is Lewis Goff. The 351 from Sam Pollitt Racing. The engine has failed. The engine has failed. Drama for Goff after what was such a promising comeback. And the body language tells the story. My heart goes out to that young man there. Did such a great job. Such a great job. And unfortunately, the engine had said, no, that's it. Your day's over, I'm afraid, Lewis. And he was banging the top of the head of the engine with his fist, trying to see if there was anything wrong with maybe the spark plug or the lead, or maybe it could have been something wrong with the squish. Maybe fuel, or maybe even wiring. There could have been a multitude of problems that caused that engine to fail and conk out on Lewis Goff. A heartbreak for the Sam Pollitt Racing driver, who started 26th on the grid. And that means that Lewis Goff becomes the 4th retiree in this race. We've lost Lewis Goff, Knud Nielsen, Ryan Bourguignon and Mathis Terlo. But things have stabilised at the front end of the field. Macaulay Bishop is trying to keep away from those behind him. And Matej Radenkovic is trying to do what he can to close on in. A little bit further back, the few drivers squabbling. Bastien Mesnil, Charlie Smith now 9th. As Bastien Mesnil gets passed by Charlie Smith. That's 8th for the American. He's definitely using a bit of Joey Hand giddy up. Still remember knowing Joey Hand from his DTM days when he was a BMW Works driver along with the man I've already mentioned in this broadcast, Andy Prio. And now Joey a bit more aligned with helping out Sun Chase, running with GFR over in the States. One of the multitude of teams competing in the USA. But we are coming down to the final few seconds of the first race day of the weekend. And Macaulay Bishop has not, as I said, not put a single foot wrong here today. He's won both his qualifying heats. He was fastest in his qualifying group. Wasn't the fastest overall. But he's done exactly what he's needed to do. The 368 from Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire, not too far from the hometown of seven-time Formula One world champion and current Scuderia Ferrari driver Lewis Hamilton, has been on a level that no one has been able to challenge him at. Last lap of the race day underway as we get things going for Macaulay Bishop. He's making his way through in towards turns 2, 3 and 4 for the final time. And it's down the Europolanda 368 will go on lap 18 out of 18. Still some battles to try and keep an eye on, but meantime, let's concentrate on the man who's going to become the first two-time winner here this year in 2025. Macaulay Bishop, top time in his qualifying session, wins both his heats and becomes the first two-time winner this season. It's Bishop on top here on day one. Head of Matthias Jallerup, Mateo Radenkiewicz rounds out your top three. Tom Langlois, the 355, made up 10 places to keep a hold of his championship lead by a mere 7 points provisionally. Mehdi Laswed, Nolan Lemeray, and the hard-charging American Charlie Smith rounds out the top 7. Smith making it from 18th to 7th at the end, head of Bestia Misnil, Sochiro Shioda, and Georgia's Lado Kuhanidze. Sebastian Koch, Jort van Wijk, Sverre Ubben, Titouan Lescali, Ollie Jonkers, Armand Hamilton, Lizzie Mentia, Omar Ganoum, Andre Remy, and Ollie Wise ran out your top 20 finishers ahead of Attila Kalapax, Lloyd Hare, Christopher Holstein Pedersen, Dante Sima, Thijs van Wijk, Tino Potier, Tino Sidler, Trofim Krotov, Anya Levar, and Enzo Zani rounding out the finishers after 18 laps of racing. Lewis Goff out on lap 12 with an engine cutting out on him. Jules Levar out on the same lap ahead of Knud Nielsen, Ryan Bourguignon, and Mathis Turlo completing the retirees with 31 out of 36 making it to the checkered after 18 laps of racing. And, well, the highlights said it all. Bishop on pole position would lead the field as the battles were fast and furious all the way up and down the order here at the home of champions. Some trying to do their level best to get past others. And also, the elbows were very much out and sharpened here in Senior Road Tax, as it always is. Dramas for Tino Sidler, contact with another driver. And, well, his bumper would have been bent upwards on the right rear, but it would not help him get any further forward in terms of closing the gap to the two in front on the championship front. But shout out to Charlie Smith from the US of A. Great performance all weekend. Difficult qualifying, but made it work. But Bishop becomes the first two-time winner in the finals this year in BNL Karting Series Season 2025. The fireworks The sparkles and the checkered flag welcomed the drivers across the line for the final time today. Well, it is 31 degrees centigrade over here at the Home of Champions, and we finally have come to the end of day number 1 of day 2 for the third round of the championship season.